It's always a happy time to help people achieve the goal of home ownership. I make sure the customers don't have to learn the hard way because I've already learned the hard way.
Produced by Podcast Architects.
All right, thank you for watching. My name is Brandon Sears, and before we get started with my special guest to my left, I'd like to remind those out there to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. I am very interested in hearing from Miss Veronica Mitchell today. She's been with us at Guaranty Bank now for 10 years. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. We share a lot of common interests, and Veronica, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Brandon. Good to be here.
Oh, good. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do with Guaranty Bank?
So I build a rapport with the customer and assess their needs and explain different programs out there and provide guidance.
So on the mortgage banking side, which you've been doing for us for a little bit, it must be so fulfilling to be able to help people to get into their first home or overcome some obstacles so that they may be able to achieve the dream of home ownership. Is that something you get to see very often?
Gosh, Brandon, I've been doing this for 30 years, and, it's always a happy time to help people, achieve the goal of home ownership. And it's always a happy occasion, and, it's like they're inviting me into their living room, and we're talking about their circumstances, and there's so many different mortgage products out there, and so it's important to know a little bit about my customer because it helps me provide different options that they can use to help finance their home, because it's an important decision. It's probably the most impactful decision they'll make in their lifetime. And so you want to make sure you entrust your mortgage application with somebody who's going to take your loan and do the best they can to get the best mortgage product for you.
That's
so
great.
It's very satisfying.
That's great. Do you have any special hobbies that many may not know of the skill sets of Veronica Mitchell?
I strum on my guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I play guitar. I played a lot more when I was younger, but as we get older, we live busy lives. So someday when I retire, I'll pick it back up and play it more.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song to play?
Well, I learned to play by ear just like my father. And back in the day, I was listening to Led Zeppelin. So Stairways to Heaven, it was a hard one to play, but I learned to play that by ear.
There you hear it, folks. She is a talented person. She knows how to play Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. So that's awesome. I didn't know that. What drives you to help Guaranty Bank customers?
Like I said, originally I wanted to be a commercial lender, and at the time that I started originating mortgages was when interest rates dropped below 10. So I literally, the person who was doing them was drowning and she needed help. And so it's never been a slow moment, but residential mortgage lending is more satisfying in my opinion because, again, you're dealing more on a personal level. A business is important too. Don't let me, but when you're dealing with a person's home, this is their castle. Mm-hmm. So it's more impactful and more meaningful.
Was there a meaningful experience that you can think of with a customer of yours that stuck with you?
I've had so many meaningful experiences, but the one that probably I should hone in is one that happened recently, this back November. It was a young lady, first-time home buyer. She had been saving for a year, saving for her down payment, and she finally came up with enough money for her down payment. She came in to see me, and, she was getting advice from her mother, her sisters, brothers, and her father ended up gifting her the down payment. And so she ended up she used her money to furnish her home. But the closing was really special because her mother, her aunts who drove in from out of town, her brothers, sisters, they were all there. There was probably 30 people in the room.
Really?
And one of her sisters said a blessing, and it was very special. I actually felt the presence of God. It was very special. And that was probably one of my most memorable closings. So
That's
it
awesome.
was
So
fantastic.
one of the things I think about that you were able to offer that you just can't get anywhere else is, um, I think with the advent and use of bot mortgages, the online application process, the queue, the checkbox for application, um, you don't get the level of service that you're able to provide. Because I hear the conversations that you're having with your customers and the level of interest that you have in helping them attain, that mortgage or that first home. Um, I know you take pride in being able to offer the assistance to those customers. Can you speak any to that?
That we live in a digital world, and everybody's on their phone and on their devices. But and it's for some people, but it's not for everyone. And I had an underwriter once told me that, I won't say the company, but it was an online company, and she said they got her on the phone, and by the time she got off the phone, they had pulled her credit, did all kinds of stuff, and before she even realized they were doing it. And so that's not who I'm about. I'm more of a hands-on, more personal type, and I think there's a lot of people that appreciate that, especially first-time home buyers. It's just, it can be an intimidating process buying your first home. It's a lot of money. You're making a huge financial commitment, and so I think it's important to be able to sit down and slow down the process so that you clearly understand, and it'll be always be a joyful experience.
And I think a large part of that is because we all work for a community bank. And the community bank has a level of impact on the people that we serve. Can you tell me what community banking means to you?
Community banking is, like a family. It's the touching your customers and knowing who they are and what their goals are, and it's like family and relationships. We're about building relationships. They're not, our customers are not just an account number. They're part of our team, and we value their business, but they're like family, and that's how we treat them. That's the Guaranty way.
I love that. Of course, I hear feedback often for how great of a job that you're doing with those customers. But in your ears, what have you heard customers say, feedback for the customer service that you're able to provide them?
Just generally happiness. I mean, again, closing on a home loan, that's a wonderful experience. I mean, I do interim construction lending to help people build their dream home, and so I'm with them, almost 12 months throughout the whole process, and then finally closing and wrapping up into their mortgage. It's just a joyful experience, and it's always a happy one.
How have you seen the growth in yourself and in Guarantee over the years play together in your role?
Pretty monumental. I mean, if you think about it, when I started here, there were 3 of us in one office doing loans, and we become, 3 banks with almost 30 employees. So that's pretty significant. It's fantastic.
There's a lot of boots on the ground now in Bryan College Station. Much different than it was back when we first started, I'm sure.
Yes. And great team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an awesome team. Everybody works together well. We blend well, and it's a coordinated effort. So, and we all have the same core values. It's awesome.
It is awesome. I'm glad you said that because we have a great team. I mean, when you have the team assembled together that we do, it's easy to focus on big things and not have to get so involved in the little things because nothing's broken. Everything's picked up by somebody. And the community involvement, the strategy, everything that plays into being surrounded by strong people. And I feel the exact same way that you do. If you looked at over the next 5-10 years plus, community involvement is something that we all definitely hold dear to our hearts. Where do you see that reaching into the Bryan College Station market for us?
We just need to continue the course. I mean, we try to stay involved in everything. I see it, and participate in all the charity events and support our builders and realtors. And, the world of banking changes. I've been in banking since the 80s, and it's constantly evolving. And I think we do a really good job in being agile and flexible and keeping up with those changes. So I just see us continue our growth pattern, just continue what we're doing.
Well, and here, especially in Texas and in some of our areas that we serve, the growth is just it's happening no matter what. And so I do feel like the embrace of growth and adaptability and flexibility, while still being able to hold to a strong culture and not let it get diluted in the communities that we serve, we're able to help our customers in the way that we know how. Those of us that have been with the bank for many years, I haven't seen that customer service dwindle. And I think that's part of the excitement I have over how Guaranty is going to grow into the next 5 years is seeing just that that immersion with the growth of who we already are.
Yeah.
So, Veronica, is it more fun to put someone in their first home or their dream home?
I think they're equally matched. When it's your first home, that's your first home. That's, it's an achievement that, when you're building something that you designed on a napkin, and went to an architect and it became full plans and you get to pick the colors, everything. That is another. It's completely different, but they're both equally joyful. It's just a fantastic experience.
What is the time frame that you've worked the longest with a couple to achieve either their first home or their dream home?
Well, construction loan, of course, always takes longer. I did one. It took 18 months because it was a larger home and it just took a little bit longer to build. So, but that's the whole point I come back to is, you develop a rapport with your customer, and they're not customers anymore. They're like friends. They're like family. And so I've made a lot of friends in the years that I've been originating home loans in Bryan College Station because it is more on a personal level.
But you also help people buy their lots, then come in with an interim construction loan.
It's a dream.
And then finance it on the permanent side for them. So and I know you've worked with a few of those individuals for a couple of years.
I laugh and I tell them, let's start with the end in mind. And then, especially if you're building on land, there could be potential problems. If you have private road access, you need to make sure you have an easement. So, we always start with the end up front to make sure we address any potential problems so that when we do finally get to the end, it's happy. Everything is done.
Happy.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
Thank you.
my objective. Everyone be happy.
I love it. So I know it's in our name, Guaranty Bank and Trust, but I'm going to take that and spin it a different way. Can you be a trusted advisor for someone walking through the home ownership process?
Yes, I think I can because I've been doing it for such a long time. And somebody who has never purchased a home before, who has never built before, you want to be sure you pick somebody who knows what they're doing and can give you and can advise you because there's so many things you don't think about, and I'm come from the school of hard knocks. I had to learn the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not that I'm just so much smarter than everybody else. It's just I have experience. And so, yeah, it's real important to choose a lender who's seasoned, knows what they're doing, and because they're going to guide you and do the right thing by you. I make sure the customers don't have to learn the hard way because I've already learned the hard way.
Well, Veronica, thank you for being here. It's a privilege having you, and thank you for watching. And if you would, please like, subscribe, and comment on our video. And if you want to know more about Guaranty Bank and Trust, check us out at gnty.com. Thank you.
Produced by Podcast Architects.